A second arrest has been made in Huntingburg in connection with a Louisville murder. Kerry Schneider brings us his weekly report from the DuBois County Humane Society, and Kurt Guxell talks IU football coming up in sports. Those stories and much more are up next here on 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. In your news, a second arrest was made in Huntingburg yesterday in connection with the shooting death of a 17-year-old male juvenile in Louisville over the weekend. After a search of several hours, Huntingburg police say 18-year-old Destiny Trusty of Huntingburg turned herself in at an undisclosed location in the city where she was advised of an active warrant for her arrest on murder charges. She was taken to the Huntingburg Police Department and later lodged in the DuBois County Security Center, where she is currently awaiting extradition to Louisville. DuBois County Sheriff's deputies assisted Huntingburg Police. As mentioned just a moment ago, Trusty becomes the second person from Huntingburg to be arrested in connection with the murder. 22-year-old Kyle Jordan Chambers of Huntingburg was arrested Sunday morning in connection with the murder after Huntingburg Police received a tip that Chambers had been involved in an altercation in Louisville at the parking lot of a closed Walgreens location at 35th and Broadway Streets. Louisville police officers say Chambers shot the juvenile, later identified as 17-year-old Darius Miller of Louisville, during the altercation. Miller was taken to University of Louisville Hospital and was later pronounced dead. Chambers is being held at the DuBois County Security Center on a warrant for the death of Miller. The Louisville Metropolitan Police Department is still investigating the murder. One of 6 former employees of a Jasper nursing facility arrested in February over the alleged abuse of a resident was sentenced Monday in DuBois Circuit Court. 33-year-old Tanya Sanders of Lagodi was one of 4 certified nursing assistants at the Providence Home Health Care Center who was arrested and charged with Class D felony counts of battery and neglect, as well as misdemeanor counts of intimidation, after an investigation by the Indiana Attorney General's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Earlier this month, a proposed plea agreement was submitted calling for Sanders to plead guilty to neglect of a dependent in exchange for the battery and intimidation charges being dismissed. Yesterday, DuBois Circuit Judge William Weichert accepted the plea agreement and sentenced Sanders to 3 years in the DuBois County Security Center. 2 of those years were suspended to supervised probation, and the 1 year that is being executed is to be served on adult day reporting via house arrest with electronic monitoring. The facility's former director of nursing, 41-year-old Katrina Patterson of Jasper, along with 53-year-old Cheryl Rocket of Washington, the former assistant director of nursing, were initially charged with misdemeanor counts of failure to report victimization of an endangered adult. Last month, Class D felony counts of obstruction of justice and neglect of a dependent were added to Patterson's case. The DuBois County Prosecutor's Office filed motions last month to consolidate all the similarly related cases for trial. The cases against Patterson and Rocket were joined into one proceeding, with a jury trial set for November 13th. Of the 3 other CNAs in the case, a motion to join the cases of 32-year-old Wendy Sutherland and 28-year-old Casey Hill, both of Tazewell, was granted back on July 19th. Their jury trial is set for March 5th of next year. A motion to join the case of CNA 33-year-old Blaine Ballard of Jasper was denied during the July 19th hearing. A camera placed in the victim's room at the end of November is alleged to have captured evidence of physical abuse against the victim by Sanders and Ballard, according to an arrest affidavit. Ballard's jury trial is set for March the 12th of next year. 2 Jasper men are forming exploratory committees to examine the possibility of running for the District 63 state representative seat next year. Dr. Richard Moss filed his intent to organize an exploratory committee with the DuBois County Clerk's Office on Friday. The Republican says he is creating the committee to receive and expend funds to explore the opportunities for elected office. Meanwhile, Republican Mike Braun filed his exploratory committee form back on June 19th. Since that time, Braun has announced that he will run for the position. Once a potential candidate submits the exploratory committee form, he can collect financial donations, according to DuBois County Clerk Bridget Jarboe. The filing does not commit the candidate to running for the seat. The official filing period for the seats in the 2014 election opens on January 8th. Current District 63 Representative Mark Messmer of Jasper has announced plans to run as a Republican for the District 48 State Senate seat that Democratic incumbent Lindell Hume plans to relinquish at the end of his term next year. The District 63 State Representative seat encompasses Bainbridge, Boone, Columbia, Hall, Harbison, Madison, and Marion Townships in DuBois County, and parts of Pike, Davies, and Martin counties. Many streets in downtown Jasper will be closed for this year's Jasper Strassenfest. The 35th annual Strassenfest is set to start on Thursday and will run through Sunday. Last night, the Strassenfest tent was raised on Lower Main Street. As a result, Main Street between 3rd and 5th Streets and 4th and 5th Streets between Jackson and Newton Streets will remain closed for the duration of the festival. Main Street from the square to between 8th and 9th Streets will be closed Wednesday to set up rides. That closing will last throughout the fest. 7th Street from Newton to the east side of City Hall and 8th Street between Newton and Jackson Streets also will be closed on Wednesday to help make rides setup easier. That closing will take place from 3 till 9 p.m. The square from Main Street to 5th Street between 8th and 9th Streets and 6th Street between Newton and Jackson Streets will close from 5:30 till 9 p.m. on Wednesday for booth and stand setup. Starting at 4:30 Thursday afternoon, 10 o'clock on Friday, 8 a.m. on Saturday, and 11 a.m. on Sunday, the square will be closed at the following intersections: Newton Street at 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Streets, at Jackson Street at 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Streets, and Main Street will be closed between 3rd and 9th Streets. At 5:45 p.m. on Thursday, 6th Street from Mill Street to the square will be closed during the Children's Box Parade. The street will reopen after the parade. 6th Street between Mill and McCrillis Streets will be closed at 4:30 p.m. on Friday for the water ball contest and at 3 p.m. on Saturday for the Kitty Tractor Pull contest. The street will reopen after each event. The intersection of 2nd and Jackson Streets will close for the Spirit of Jasper train rides. The intersection will be closed at 6 and 7:30 p.m. on Friday and at 11 a.m. and at 12:30, 2, 3:30, and 5 p.m. on Saturday. It will remain closed until the end of each hour-long ride. At 7 a.m. on Saturday, Main Street between 7th and 9th Streets and 9th between Newton and Jackson Streets will close for the Wetloff race and reopen afterward. On Sunday, additional roads will be closed starting at 11:30 a.m. for the parade, which will run south on Jackson Street from 15th Street to 9th Street, east on 9th Street to Main Street, south on Main Street to Circle the Square, and back north on Main to 15th Street. And from 8 to 11 p.m. on Sunday, 2nd Street from Clay Street to the 600 block of 2nd Street will be closed for the fireworks display. Other items of note: Jasper City Hall's parking lot will be for handicapped parking only during the hours of the Strassenfest. No parking will be allowed on the square during the Strassenfest, and parking violations as well as driving through barricades will not be tolerated. Violators will be ticketed and vehicles will be towed at the owner's expense. Coming up after the break, Kerry Schneider brings us his weekly report from the DuBois County Humane Society, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform featuring Scott Solomon and Joyce Fleck with TriCap Will Read and Sing for Food. That's all up next here on 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.